Okay, great. So, I guess, we talked last week. We gave some new action plans, some new steps, some stuff. So you guys can just catch me up to speed. Do we have any new questions? We have to make any adjustments or whatnot, and we can just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Um, got some jobs, got our first few jobs booked and completed, uh,
Awesome.
which has been good. A little bit of a learning adjustment there. We had the first one that we did, the cleaner forgot to clean the baseboards in the bathroom, so we had to send them back to go do that. So that was a bit of a little bit of a like I guess something like we should have expect to happen. It just sucked that it happened on the first one.
Yep, of course.
And then yesterday we had one where the cleaner got there and was like, this is like way worse than we expected. And so we had to call and adjust the price. Val talked to the customer and they gave her a little bit of pushback on like adjusting it. Um, and then the cleaner even called us a second time and was like, this is like it's not getting better kind of thing. And so we had like it just cut into our margins a little bit because we ended up paying her more, but like we didn't feel like we could ask the customer to up the price again.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of an adjustment and kind of curious on like how you typically handle that and like do you expect every job to be worse than what they tell you?
Yeah, so I would say there's two main things here. So the first thing is going to be you don't want that conversation about, hey, we need to change the price. You don't want the first time that that's ever been mentioned to be right then in that moment. Because a lot
Okay.
of companies and a lot of customers, they're going to cling to this idea of like, oh, well, you told me that it's 249 flat rate price. What do you mean now
Yeah.
it's not? Now you seem like a liar. They're like, oh, this is, they want to complain, whatever else. But if you've had a mention of this previously already, it normally just makes it much more palatable. And
Mm.
normally that is just where it comes down to on that first sales call, having it be a part of the clothes that then it's like, okay, they're closed. We mentioned that, hey, if this is not as described, the price may change, right? And then in those, by setting that expectation on the sales call, you just will save yourself a lot of heartache when it comes to the phone conversation after the fact, or I guess I should say during the fact. A good example of this comes like the way that I like to do it is when I have got the customer closed, like they're happy, they're good, the price is set, everything, I've already taken the credit card information, all of that. Then, as like I'm hanging up,
Right.
last line type of thing, then I say, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know that 299 price quote that I gave you or 249 price quote that I gave you covers you up to about 5 hours of service. We put a soft cap on all of our service lengths because we understand that sometimes things aren't exactly as we describe. Sometimes things end up being different or getting worse between the time that we book it and the time that we actually show up or whatnot. So if everything is as you have described, and everything goes exactly like we've spoken about, then your price is not going to change. It's going to be just like what we said. But in the event that something changes or we want to add to the scope of work or the house gets dirtier between now and then or whatever, then if more time is required beyond this soft cap of 5 hours, I'll just call you and we can make an adjustment to figure out what it's going to take to get the full job complete. And then most people at that point, they're pretty agreeable. They're like, yeah, it makes sense because you've kind of put the onus on them and you've kind of told them, hey, if I need to raise the price, it's going to be your fault, not my fault. Right.
Right.
It just sets a different tone. So then when you do call them on the day of the service, it's, hey, how's it going? My cleaner's there right now. It does look like it's a bit worse than how it was described over the phone, which we understand it happens. If you're not the one doing a lot of the deep cleaning, sometimes you don't even realize how bad it can get. And
Mm.
we think this may be more like a 7 or 8 hour clean. So what I would love to do is I will give you an extra half hour past your 5 for free. I will take care of an extra half hour. But then beyond that extra half hour, if we need 2 extra hours, I'm going to need you to pay that difference for that extra hour and a half. It's going to cost you $75 extra. Is that something you're okay with? Or do you want to just take the 5.5 hours and have us just stop there and then
Yeah.
you'll finish the rest on your own? And then that normally it puts the ball in their court. They feel like they have more control. They feel like they have more jurisdiction over it. They've already been pre-warned. Now they're like, okay, the cleaner's actually in the house and is actually saying this is how bad it is. And then I rarely get pushback with that strategy.
Okay.
Oh, here. We might have a sales call opportunity here if you want to see me do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if this person is a telemarketer or not. Hello?
Hello, do you speak Spanish?
No.
Okay, sorry, bye.
Well, that was a first one for me. I've never had someone do that before. So, um, all right, yeah. I was hoping that maybe we would get an example of it. I just had a perfect one of these calls earlier this morning. I booked like a $500 deep clean, and I told the woman, I'm like, hey, when we get to big jobs like this,
Yeah.
like we have a soft cap on hours. If this I know you said deep clean and I'm saying deep clean, but I could quote you $800 right now, but
Yeah.
that wouldn't make sense either. Like
Yeah.
500 is what we're expecting. If it's different than we expect, we'll address that while we're there. I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm not going to bill you more without talking to you, and setting those expectations. I normally don't run into too many problems.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, this one was a move out clean, so we kind of expected the place to be empty and it wasn't.
Move out and deep. You're always going to basic clean. Then what I just say is if it's way worse, I just call the customer back on the day of and I say, hey, this is not a basic clean. This is a
Right.
right. And that's a pretty easy conversation to have of like, you said basic clean. This is not a basic clean.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
But deep clean is so hard because the spectrum of a deep clean is like deep
Right.
clean just meaning, hey, I want the baseboards done, but the whole place is pretty clean, or deep clean meaning like this place is horrible, hasn't been cleaned in
Right.
months. So
Yeah.
we use the same word for all of it. Same thing with move out, and I have really started to very frequently add that heavy duty add-on to my move out
Mm.
cleans
Oh,
because I tell people, well, I'll just ask them straight up. I'll be like, hey, our move out clean, it's a basic clean, but it just covers all the services or sorry, all of the surfaces. So, floors, countertops, outside of appliances, all of that stuff is included in the move out. Same thing with inside the cabinets, inside the appliances, whatever. But if you need a deep move out clean,
Yeah.
that's a different service. And
yeah.
then that will go with me sometimes if they really give me an inkling that it's going to be a deep clean. What I'll actually do is I'll actually just do deep clean in Book and Koala, and then I'll add on cabinets, fridge, oven as extras. And
Actress.
they end up paying like both of the add-on fees. But normally those people that really have a bad home, they don't normally argue too much about the price
Yeah.
because they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had a couple of cleans that were like almost $600 and there was really no pushback on the price. Like they kind of knew, and I had to get a couple price increases, and they kind of knew that it
Mhm. Especially if you're
wasn't too
there.
bad. It wasn't really a fight.
Yep. If you're there and they're like, oh, the cleaner is actually in my house and is talking
Yeah.
about how dirty it is, it gets a
Yeah.
lot easier to be like, okay, I get it. Like they're here. I'm watching them work. I'm watching them scrub and scrub and scrub. Like if it needs more time, it needs more time.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was is there a way or do you have a way that like they can add a tip onto what they want to do? Like we had the person yesterday wanted to add a tip and didn't have cash. And so we were like, we can add it on your credit card, but then she just like stopped answering. So I don't want, is there a way that they can add that without it being through us? Because like we're like, I get like why they wouldn't want to give it to us, even though we would give it directly to the cleaner, but we also like don't want to give the like the cleaner Zelle info so that they can like cut us out for future.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, normally I just tell people straight up, I'm like, hey, this is like we do 100% of the or 100% of the tips goes to your cleaning service providers. I can bill it separately as a line item of a tip, and then normally that makes people feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Where I'm like, hey, if you want to add a tip, you'll see the charge for the service and then you'll see the charge for the tip. And that just goes directly to the cleaners. Now,
Okay.
understand that you're either going to pay processing or you got to
Right.
take the processing out of what you're going to pay your cleaners.
Right.
I just eat the processing on my tips. It's normally nothing crazy. If they get a $20 tip, I paid $6 in processing and it just, or sorry, that would be like $1 in processing. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Like I'll just eat that dollar. I'm not going to give them 19 because of the processing.
Yeah.
But to give it not through you, if they create like a client portal, like if they, because when you send them their first booking, they're going to get like prompted to create an account. If they create an account, they can add a tip like in the back end.
Oh,
Um, or that there's like the add tip button on like the booking features. You've seen
yeah.
that. And then um
I just didn't want to like add it to their like I didn't want to add it on our end without like the authorization from the customer to say that like yeah, go ahead and like add it to the card. Because I was like if you want to add like if you want to like Venmo them or something you can. But she was like, "Oh, they already left and I didn't get it." And I was like, "Okay, well, I can charge it on my end, but then they just stopped answering and I didn't want to like go ahead and do that." So yeah, I see how it's done on my end from Booking
yeah.
Koala. I just don't know if there's a way that like when we send the confirmation if they can like add a tip on their end if it like comes through, and I guess it sounds like no.
Yeah, there's nothing. There may be an email that you could toggle on that requests tips, but the only issue with Booking Koala emails is it's all or none. It's
Yeah.
either the email's
Right.
on or the email's off. And
Right.
if you set it up, every single customer will get an email after the service saying, "Would you like to add a tip for your cleaner?" Which that may be fine. I mean, I don't have that turned on personally, but just because I know how much I hate getting asked for tips, so
Yeah.
I let people come to me if they feel inclined to tip, or if I'm on the phone afterwards with them and they say, "Oh, it was amazing. We love Teresa so much." Then I'll just throw it in there. Yes, I'm so glad you had a great service. If you would like to give Teresa a tip, if you haven't already, you can just let me know what amount and I can just add it to the booking. 100% of the tips go to her. And then that's really the only way I ever go about doing it.
Okay.
Um, and then you can always just bill manually through Stripe as well. You could
Okay.
just go to someone's customer account on Stripe and just run their card.
Okay. um Also, do you know if on Thumbtack if we like decline a lead if we still get charged for it?
You won't. No, I don't know. I've never done it. Honestly,
So
I've never
we
done
got
it.
one. We got one today that it actually like seemed like it might be a moot point, but I was just kind of curious because someone put in like a lead for us, and it was like a 6 bedroom, 5 bathroom place, so it was a kind of an expensive lead. But then he like messaged in the lead thing and was like, "Disregard all of that. I'm actually looking for work. Like, can you call me and like I can do work?" And it's like Thumbtack ended up flagging it and like refunded it. But I was like, I was leaving it kind of pending, hoping that like if we decline it, maybe we'd be able to not have to pay for the lead.
Do you
And
do
there are
you
some in there that it's like, if the job, like they're trying to get a job for like $119 and like we would have like no margin then.
Yeah, that happens.
Especially if we're paying like $30 for the lead.
Yeah. Hmm. Do you have a, if you go to your Thumbtack account, have you guys ever like disputed a job yet or no?
Not
No.
yet. No.
Didn't you get one lead that was like $300?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try to dispute that one and see if they give it back to you.
Okay.
Because I remember when I set up my account, like my first three disputes, I just auto won them. And then I haven't won a single one since then, like zero. But I think to try to keep people on the platform, maybe
Mhm.
their SOP is like the first, one or two or three leads that you dispute, they just give you your money back to appease you. Um,
Okay.
so if you have a damn $300 lead, I mean, you might be able to get that as a $300 a credit on your account. So if there's anyone to try to dispute, that's probably the one.
Okay.
So I would just go to your, probably be in your messages section
Yeah, I
now.
saw where we can. We just hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, and I think the way the one that I disputed it as was like customer didn't intend to book or something like that.
Okay.
Um, let me see. I'll just look at what the, let's see. You may not even be able to if the lead is super old at this point, but it's how many days old is it now?
Only like 2 weeks, if that.
Okay, yeah. So if you go to report and then you click report a scam or dispute, then you can put customer doesn't intend to hire.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
you just may get that $300 back, which would be awesome, obviously. Get that
Yeah.
as a credit.
Worth a shot for sure. Thanks for suggesting that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I said, it doesn't work well.
yeah.
It that's worked for me like 2 out of 20 times, but it did work the first 2 times. So you never know.
The and then also, do you have like a workflow for when leads or people call or anything like after hours? For instance, like we had a lead come in at 3 o'clock in the morning today, and it's like obviously like we weren't online to do that, to handle it. Um,
On
we took
Thumbtack,
like
you
we
had
did it
that?
this morning. I'm sorry.
On Thumbtack?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't. The only people that I've seen that do it really well are people that literally just shut their Thumbtack off when they close every night. Because
Oh,
like
how
you
do you
can
do
you can
that?
just hide your profile, like you just turn it on and off. So I
Oh, I
think,
didn't know you could do that.
yeah,
Do you
if
know
you
how to
go to
do
your
that?
profile, you can go. God damn. I had a lady give me a 4-star review because she
Mm.
just said, "You guys did a great job. I just wanted to give you something to strive for in your next service."
No
I'm
way.
like, "Go fuck yourself, lady. Like, are you kidding?"
So
Um,
annoying.
I know, and she was an old ass woman, and I'm like, all right, well, we'll be back in 2 weeks, and when we do a great job, you need to switch that to a 5 for me. And
Yeah.
I kind of said it like lightheartedly like that, and she laughed, and she's like, all right, you got it. But um, yeah,
It's
I was
like one of
just
those
like,
things like
Oh,
I like they don't realize like how
annoying.
much like businesses like rely on it.
yeah, they don't get it. They don't get it at
Yeah.
all. It's just part of cost of doing business, right? Just
Yep.
having these people. I mean, I've had 2 people now give me 4-star reviews, and like their review is raving. Like their review is like they were so great, they were prompt, they were professional, they were super nice, blah 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 blah, and then 4 stars. I'm like, why? Why? Like that's how my dad is, and I've had to scold him over it because like he goes out or uses a service or goes to a restaurant or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, it was awesome, 4 stars. It could have been better." And then they would have gotten a 5. I'm like, "You're an ass, man. Like just give them a 5."
Give you a five.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing? Um, okay, I'm looking right here for where I can toggle the ads on. I know I found it. Just give me a second. I'll find it again here.
Oh yeah, no worries. That would be so helpful. We were scouring in there like the past couple of days trying to figure out how we could do that. So we're like, there's got to be a way to like not have them run all the time, but
Yeah, there is. Okay, I found this feature, but it's hide my business, which I don't think is what we want to do.
we can also ask the Slack channel if anyone in there knows.
Yeah.
You can wait, I don't mind typing that out after this call. If you think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm giving it a real quick Google search here. Yeah, maybe see if anyone else has is doing that currently. And then in regards to the instant booking, I don't know if it was you guys or someone else that asked about instant booking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always just you can always just book out your whole calendar. So you can literally block out like a month at a time and just be like, we have no more availability for the month of October. And then no one can instant book because your calendar is blocked out for the entire month. So,
Okay.
and it won't impact someone that's not looking to instant book. Like it
Okay.
won't impact them.
Yeah.
You'll still pop up, but no one will be allowed to instant book. I
Is there
just saw
Okay.
benefit to having instant book on?
if people really, if they don't want to call and they don't want to correspond and they just want to instant book, then they may go with someone else who has the feature turned on or who has availability. But I mean, otherwise, that's about it. I don't know that it would affect your ranking or where you appear in the search results. Like, for example, LSA messages. LSA messages are historically much worse than phone call leads. But having messages off
Mhm.
negatively impacts where you rank in the search engine.
Mhm.
So I tell everyone that you just kind of have to keep it on unless you're really just burning money on the message leads. Like it's worth it to keep it on. And so then we go that way. But otherwise with Thumbtack, I don't see how it would have any impact because it's not that you have the feature turned off. It's just that your schedule's already full.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah, we were weighing the pros and cons, but Val, you said that was like the easiest sell you've had.
The instant book, yeah, it was.
It was
Yeah,
just
because
it was just
The
an
price was
expensive
already
lead.
there. She had already agreed to it. It was like
Mhm,
got her credit card info. That was pretty much it. There was no hard selling.
mhm. Yeah, it's just you have to pay a lot per lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, you'll get an instant book where they don't want to book and they didn't look at your um, pricing and they didn't see anything. And then you pay $100 for a lead and they're like, oh, I can't afford that service.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Like
Right.
nothing. You're going to say, try to downsell them or try to whatever. But ultimately, if they don't want to book with you, they're not going to, and you're going to pay $100 for the lead. That's happened to me like 4 or 5 times, which sucks, but I mean, just happens. I always just steer the conversation of like, call. Thanks so much for booking. This is Parker with Mad Town Maids. I just wanted to call and confirm the details of the booking that you made, everything, so we're going to be coming on this date, this time. This is the scope of work. That all sounds right. Okay, great. Your price is 249. How do you want to pay? Like that, like that's kind of how I steer the combo versus like a
Yeah.
sales call.
Do you have them do you have a way for them to pay in Thumbtack, or do you like still get them on the call to do that? We were trying to debate if we wanted to do that or not.
Thumbtack will direct deposit it for you. The only issue with that is like, and Thumbtack can process a refund if they want to, and Thumbtack can, you know, hold the pay if they want to, and whatever. Like Thumbtack becomes your payment processor, so they ultimately now have control over how that goes.
Oh,
Versus, when you're dealing with, well, I mean, Stripe can screw you over too. Like anyone can screw you over that processes your payments. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's we are very small fish to these companies. So,
yeah.
they're not worried about us moving off the platform.
Yeah.
Like if somebody disputes something or wants to refund or complains enough, they may just do it. And there's not much we can do about that. But that's a rare occurrence. So
Okay.
setting up the direct deposit through Thumbtack, I don't think it could hurt. Look, just read into what the processing costs are, because if it's like 6% as opposed to 3 on Stripe, then you probably just want to get them on Stripe.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't see any reason why not to do it. Just, understand that if you have a job with really bad fulfillment from a Thumbtack customer, Thumbtack may refund them and you may not have any say in it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good to know. I know we are at time.
Yeah, if you guys have anything else, though, I don't have a call that backs up right to this. I have like 14 more minutes before my next one. So if you don't have anything else, that's also fine. But if you do have anything, just let me know.
Yeah. No. So we want to start cold call outreach this week. I kind of want to know what works and like how you price things. Like I know you mentioned you did like assisted livings, like multiple units and things like that. Like how do we even go about pricing things like that?
Yeah, so I would actually recommend that you go watch the YouTube video that I just posted. It's called like Live $25,000 Close or something. And it's a
Okay.
full commercial sales call for three large office cleanings every week, right? Um, and I actually have the full sales call of my close of that senior living center. Maybe I'll just post that in the school because I have that full close as well. Oh, I think I posted that on Twitter, but I can also just post it in the school. Um, but yeah, I like the hourly intro service. That's how I like to do it. Now, some people won't bite at that, especially like property managers may not like that. They're like, just give me a price. But for large commercial spaces, I do like the hourly intro. I think it's a nice strategy, and I think that it does well to mitigate your risk and create a fair expectation for the customer.
Mhm.
So, um, do you guys live where your cleaning business is?
I do, yeah.
And are you willing to do walkthroughs, or are you not interested in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're cold calling, you're just trying to book walkthroughs. I mean, you're not really trying to give pricing over the phone. it's almost never advantageous to do that
Mhm.
because our businesses are not the cheapest on the block. And
Right.
you want to attach yourself and your personality and your attentiveness and your response speed and all of that to your price, not just provide a price.
Mhm.
Because if we're strictly looking at things from a cost perspective, we're going to lose out to the smaller owner operator businesses or the enormous W2 businesses. Either way, that's not going to be favorable for us. Um, Otherwise, I would say, mm, yeah, if you're booking walkthroughs, how many cleaners do you guys have?
Uh, two, but one is like a team.
A team of how many?
Or
Four.
So you could do some pretty good size commercial. What's their availability like?
it's pretty open.
Yeah,
Okay.
if we give her enough notice, she's usually pretty
Yeah,
good.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you could do some larger scale commercial. Um, I would get my feet wet with office spaces, chiropractors, dentists, law office, yeah, accountant, any type of small office where the cleaning is going to be pretty basic, right? We're talking vacuuming, wiping counters, maybe a cleaning up a couple public restrooms, but nothing. We're not dealing with kitchens. We're not dealing with, really heavy, important cleaning. And then from there, you could segue into like car dealership, um, furniture showroom, or a stage room, warehouses. There was daycares, like smaller daycares, or private preschools or things like that. Obviously if anything's state funded, then they're going to have a janitor, but privately funded ones. um Shoot. Someone gave me a really great idea just the other day when we were on the phone. Who was it? I can't remember. If I jog my memory, I'll send you guys a message. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good places to start. Then, of course, you can go for like the low-hanging fruit, the more obvious ones like salons, barbershops, cafes, restaurants, bars, all of those where like they probably have a cleaner or cleaning team. Um, Obviously, they're going to get lots of inquiries. Lots of people are going to be reaching out to them, but that doesn't mean that you don't just catch them on the right day.
Right.
I have a bar that I've been cleaning every morning since January 7th. It's been every day, 7 days a week for 300 days or whatever it's been. Um, and we've never missed a day and they've never missed a payment. And it's a small little bar. It takes an hour for us to clean. We charge them 45 bucks on weekdays and 60 bucks on the weekend. And it's just been like clockwork. Every day, every month, I get a check for 1,400 bucks, and that's it. So, you stack up 5 of those, 7 of those, 10 of those. Look at that. That's a $15,000 a month business.
Right.
It doesn't need to be really complicated or glamorous or huge contracts. Part of why that contract works so well for us is because they're small. There's not a ton of people gunning for that contract.
Right.
And we can just have one cleaner handle it for 1 hour every day, and that's it.
Um, when you so like at the end of the month and like you're posting like return like revenue numbers and stuff like that, normally like on an average, like percentage wise, what would you say is like your actual take home versus like overhead, cleaner costs, marketing?
Let's see. So if we look at average, um, let's look like since April. April was when I started to get up to a decent volume here. So there's January, February, March. Yeah, we'll start in March. March, I did 17.3 total revenue, took home 6,200 net profit.
Okay.
So that's about 37%. Next month, I did 34.7 in total revenue, took home 12.35. So 12.35 over 34.7. That's 35.5%.
Okay. So
Month
like a
after that.
30-ish%.
Yeah, I think 30 is low end. Let's see, I'll pull a couple more months here just to see, give you guys a better picture because I don't want to tell you based off of just a couple months. 12, 4, 7, 38, 33% in June, July, 34%, August, 34, 35%. I just wrapped up September. September will be a little bit lower because I had a huge commercial contract that my margins were just low on because I had to bid low to win the contract. So this one will probably be, let's call it 10,000 over 35. This one will be like 29%, but that's probably going to be the lowest margin month that I've had since February, let's call it, since January or February. So that was 3 months after starting, right? Your first 3 months are just kind of going to be a crapshoot because at the end of the day, like margin doesn't work the same because your ad spend is not going to scale proportionate to the amount of money that you're making. That's the whole point, is that you may spend 2 grand on ads month one and you may make 10K in total rev. Then you may spend 2,500 on ads in month two and make 12K in total rev. Then you may spend 3 grand. But when you scale up to 30K, you're not going to be spending triple on ads. That's not normally how that goes. So then ads become a smaller and smaller portion of your total expenses, where like, I still spend like 3 grand to 3,500 a month on like all marketing. And I was spending 2,500 when I was making half as much. So, it doesn't scale proportionately like that. So, I mean, I would say 25% probably is a good margin to target. And then, growing, and the more recurring that you have, the more that should help your margins. And the more returning customers with no ad spend should help your margins. The higher your closing rate should help your margins, all of these things. And then you're going to go hire VAs and you're going to get them plugged in, and that's going to hurt your margins because you're going to have a $1,500 expense or whatever the expense is for their salary for the month. And it's like, okay, that hurt my margins. But on the flip side, I'm spending way less time and the business should make more money, so those things, like all of that kind of adds a little nuance to it. But if you can be looking at like a true profit margin between 25 and 35%. I think that's pretty good. And then of course that number changes based on like what you start to consider business expenses, because, my wife and I co-own our business together. When we go out to dinner, we talk about business, we put that on the business credit card. So that hurts our margins, but I mean, that's fun money, right? We're going out to dinner, we're enjoying things together. So sure, it's less profit, but it was, 4 times we went out for a nice meal. So that also then skews your books a little bit as well.
Yeah. That's helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. If anything else comes up, of course, just shoot a message in the VIP chat. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be keeping my eye out on my phone if you guys need anything. And then you have your call link to schedule your next call, which I believe your next one will be your last one for like your 90-day coaching package or whatever it is. I don't know the exact day you guys enrolled or joined or whatever, but I'll take a look before the next call. We always have extended coaching if you want to add it, if you feel like it's worth it, but you still got, I think, 2 weeks or whatever left. So just keep plowing ahead for now, and then we'll revisit that when the time actually comes. But let me know if you guys need anything. Enjoy the rest of your day and of your week, and I will talk with you both shortly.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
take care.